I'm Chris Avina with American Outdoor News, and today's guest is without question the greatest athlete of our generation. He's the only athlete to be an all-star in both the NFL and Major League Baseball, but more importantly, he's a very passionate hunter. Will you please welcome Mr. Bo Jackson? Is it safe to say that athletics was your job and hunting was your passion?
Absolutely. I worked during the summer with baseball, but the few off times I had, I'm fishing, which was a passion. During the winter, football was my job, but when I got time, I was in a deer stand or somewhere in a ground blind hunting. And now that I'm retired from both, it's a full-time passion for me. Fishing, hunting. I own 3 boats, and they're all and they aren't social boats or party boats to go out for the weekend and just hang out. They're fishing boats. 1 boat for the lake and 2 boats for the river. And spend a lot of time, whenever I have time, on the water. Besides that, besides my fishing and my hunting, all of my friends, most of my friends, they're not ex-ball players or anything like that. They're everyday working Joes, doctors, you name it. They love to hunt, they love to fish, love to bird hunt, and so forth and so on. So that's what I do now. And I suppose right now I'm so busy with my work once again because I supposed to be retired, but they say, when you retire, you work 3 times as hard as you did when you worked, when you actually had a job. Yep. So all of my time now is spent trying to balance my food companies, my multiple companies that I have, and my hunting and fishing. I got my boat sitting in my driveway right now. It's been sitting there for 5 days, and I haven't had time to get out on the river because of with my food company and traveling and doing this and so forth and so on. And but it's fun. It's good to know that it's there. Mm-hmm. And with me being the boss, I can walk out this office anytime I get ready, go get that boat and go to the river and don't have to bother with anybody.
Have a cell phone, you can work anywhere.
I can work anywhere. I got buddies right now, got a trip planned to go to Southern Texas next week to archery hunt. Okay. And I can't wait.
What's on the menu?
We're hunting on a friend's ranch that's a high fence. He has some exotics there. Sure. And I think the animal that I'm going after with my bow is a nilgai. Oh, that's a big body animal.
It is. They're adorable. They're tough animals.
Yes, it's a nilgai. I've never had nilgai meat. I've had all the other plains games meat, but I'm looking forward to, they want me to take it with a rifle, and I'm hell bent on doing it with my bow.
It's going to be very difficult with a bow, I'll tell you that.
It's well, I tell you what, if I can get him within 70 to 80 yards, and with him not knowing with me there, I think I'm a pretty good shot. I'm a pretty good shot. I do all my own adjusting and twerking on all my hunting equipment, my golf equipment. I do it all. I get in my man cave and I unhook the smoke detector and I go to work. So I do all my own fletching, building my arrows and tuning my bows to where they shoot like a dart. Now, I just didn't read this in a book. I got a lot of friends that's in the outdoor business. Vicky and Ralph, Archer's Choice.
Oh, sure.
Tim Wells. Uh-huh. Tim Wells out of Peoria. Jackie Bushman. Mm-hmm. All these guys. Michael Waddell. all of these guys and ladies are a good friend of mine. So I've learned from them over the years. And I take it home and I get in my man cave. That's where once I go downstairs in my basement and go in my man cave where I got a sign saying no trespassers, um, um, I'm no longer Bo Jackson. I'm no longer Bo Jackson. I'm that outdoors person that the country barely knows, that has a passion to be in that area, that has a passion to 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 want to get out in nature and just be a part of nature.
When you played for the Royals, you had a very unusual way to zone yourself in for the game.
I just shoot my bow and arrow in the locker room a lot, and the players weren't there. I'd get there early, and just to relax before you do, I do the William Tell thing where I get an apple and sit on the thing and put an arrow through the apple, and Brett Saberhagen, Mark Gubazar, and all. We would all get, and they would try to pull my bow back, and they couldn't pull it back because I had to sit at 90 pounds.
Wow.
And they couldn't pull it back at the time. But now with me being an old man and with the artificial shoulder, I'm only pulling about 60 pounds now, which is way more than enough if you're shooting the proper equipment, if you got it set up proper with a heavy enough arrow that can carry the kinetic energy behind it to get the penetration of a big size animal. You have nothing to worry about.
I heard a story that at one point you would be shooting the apple out of your.
But I've done that once.
How in God's name did you talk somebody into holding an apple?
Well, the thing that you have to realize, baseball players are a bunch of kids. It doesn't matter how old you are. Everybody in the locker room, and the only part that you all get to see is us out on the field where we're being serious and playing. But in the locker room, it's like a daycare center. Everybody's doing things. Everybody's playing pranks on each other. Everybody's pulling jokes on each other. Everybody's pissing each other off, and we're having fun. So yeah, we do crazy things. We play jokes on each other, and every now and then, you can talk one of your teammates into doing something dangerous, like hold an apple while the other teammate shoot an arrow through the apple out of his hand. So that's just an everyday occurrence in a major league locker room.
That's wild. Now, taking a step back, at what age were you introduced to hunting, and what was your impression of the sport before you actually went out on the hunt?
Well, I was introduced to hunting when I was 5, 6 years old. The first time I ever gone hunting was with my grandfather. I had to be 3 or 4 years old.
Wow.
And my grandfather had a smokehouse. This was before anybody had a freezer or could afford a deep freezer. Everybody had a smokehouse. You'd smoke your meat to keep it. Sure. And he had a smokehouse out back. And he had his farm animals, but he'd go hunting, and he would hunt raccoon, possum, deer if he could. And we went up to coon hunt one night. He got his old hound dog, his coon dog, and we left. And we left his house because over the weekends I used to spend the night at his house, which was only a block up the street. And we woke up one morning, and it's just as plain as day. He woke me up. I got up, got me dressed, and he got his shotgun, got his hound dog, and my grandfather was an ore miner, an iron ore miner.
Wow.
So he got his hat that had the light on it with the battery pack on it.
Sure.
Got his shotgun, and he had a rope, and the rope clipped on his belt, and he tied it around my waist so he wouldn't have to hold my hand. And I just followed him. He said, "Follow me." So I had the rope on me, and I'm just following my granddad. We go up on the mountain, and we sit on a log, and he unleashed his hound dog and let him go. And we sit there, and I'm wondering why he let his dog go in the dark, because it's 3:34 in the morning. And we sat there and we wait till we hear that dog start baying and yelping, which he's treating a coon. And we go down and look, and he turned his light on his mining cap up in the tree. And I see these two little lights looking back at us.
Yeah.
And it's a raccoon. And he took his shotgun and boom, and leaves and bark, and the raccoon hits the ground, and it bounces. And before it hits the ground again, that hound dog got him and shaking it. And that was my first experience with hunting. And like I said, he hunted for the food. Archery, as far as I'm concerned, my cousin and I, Jason, we built our own bow and arrows. We built our own slingshots. And we built our own bow and arrows out of just sticks. We go get a limb from a tree that we could bend, get some nylon cord around one end, bend it around the other end. We go out in the field and find twigs that are straight about the size of a pencil. Mm-hmm. Then we get the bottle caps off of a Coca-Cola or something, bend it around the tip with a hammer to put a point.
That was your field point.
Get a chicken feather, split down the back of the arrow, stick it down, get some thread, and tie it around. And that feather would stabilize our arrow. And we would hunt my uncle's chickens. Well, not hunt, but shoot at them because we couldn't hurt them. We would bruise them or wound them. And once my uncle find out, he beat the crap out of both of us. Period. Period. He whooped the crap out of both of us out in the yard in front of the neighbors and so forth and so on. But that was life as a kid. We had to make our own fun. So I got to college and got older. Our punter named Lewis Colbert. One day after practice, we had a day practice during the summer, and I was up in my room and I walked out on the balcony. I saw the punter out in the yard of the football dorm, and he was shooting his bow. And I never shot a compound bow before. And I watched him, and he's shooting a styrofoam cup about 20 yards away. And he said, pull it back. And I couldn't see the arrow, and I see that cup move. I'm like, damn, he hit that cup. He got another arrow. And he hit that cup again. So I'm like, I'm intrigued. Walk down and go down to see him. And I said, how are you hitting that cup every time like that? And he said, well, I got a peep sight here, and I got a pin, a 20-yard pin, and I looked through this sight. Once I pulled the bow back, I looked through this sight and put that pin on whatever I want to hit at 20 yards. So I said, can I do it? He gave it to me, put it on, and I was hooked.
We were natural.
And I was hooked. And my first bow I ever bought was a Fred Bear bow. Cost me $63.
Big money back then.
That came with 6 arrows, aluminum arrows. Until this day, that bow's hanging in my man cave.
Wow.
With the same string on it that came on it 30-something years ago.
You never restrung it.
And I could still pull it back and it still shoots.
Wow, that's amazing.
I still have that bow. It's heavy because back then everybody just made their bow to make the bow.
Yeah.
And the first thing I ever killed with that bow was a wild pig. So that's how I got introduced and reintroduced to the outdoors and hunting and so forth and so on. And now it's just my way of relaxing and getting away from being Bo Jackson.
Well, football and baseball are tremendous team sports that are constantly testing you physically. How does hunting test you?
Hunting humbles you like golf. Every time you think hey, I got a handle on this, or I mastered this, it throws your curveball. It throws your curveball. So it humbles you. Hunting doesn't mean going out every time harvesting an animal. Hunting doesn't mean being successful. I consider a successful hunt going out and not even seeing an animal, but learning something that animal is doing in their everyday life, the path that animal is traveling, how that animal tries to, it's like a chess game in the woods. You're trying to get to where you're downwind of that animal, and that animal is always circling to find out who is in his living room. Because if you go to your house and you walk in the door and see something out of place that wasn't out of place, you know somebody's in your house.
Oh, yeah.
And that animal knows when you're there. They may not see you, but he's going to work his way a 360 until he can get wind of whatever's in his living room, and he's going to get the hell out of there. So it's always good for me to try to outwit that animal, because I know that animal is way smarter than me. And it's just a chess game with us.
Being in this environment.
Absolutely.
Popping up a blind the day
Absolutely.
you're going to be hunting is like
No.
somebody coming in stealing your couch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, what was your most memorable hunt?
Wow. My most memorable hunt was the first time I went elk hunting. First time I ever went elk hunting. That was my first ever whitetail hunt. And I went on a buddy's place by the name of George Mann. He's like a pioneer of archery hunting in the state of Illinois. He held probably most of the archery records for biggest deer in the state of Illinois. He passed about 8-9 years ago. I'd say 10 years ago. And he taught me a lot about archery and so forth and so on. And the first time I ever went hunting on his place, it was with the rifle though. And I didn't know anything about deer except if you want to take a deer, take one with horns. And he put me in a tree stand out in the woods, and he said they're gonna come around in this wheat field. And a deer came out, and he said, if you harvest an animal, don't get out of your stand, just wait till I come back and get you. So I'm thinking, well, all right. About an hour and a half later, I harvested a deer, basket rack 8-point at the time, dropped him right there. And so I just sit there. And right after I harvest a deer, I get the shakes. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? I'm like, stop. What's wrong? And I just got the buck fever, as they call it. And I sat there. He didn't show up. Hour later, he didn't show up. It's getting dark. Still didn't show up. Now it's real dark. Still show up. And he showed up because it didn't get dark until it gets dark. With the time change, it gets dark around. I shot the deer around 4. At 6:30, you can't see your hand in front of you. And I'm waiting on him to come, nobody comes. So I said, well, I'm gonna get down. I start climbing down the ladder. And I get to where my foot touches the ground. And I shoot back up the ladder. Now, I got a rifle. I go back up, sit in the stand. I'm like, what the hell is that? Not knowing he didn't tell me that deer snort at you, blow at you. So I sit there for 20 minutes. I start to go back down, get halfway down, and he blows at me again. So I'm thinking, is that a Bigfoot? What the hell is that? I chamber around because I don't know. Can't see anything. And about 20 minutes later, I see the lights coming through the woods, his truck. He comes down, pulled to the edge of the field, and he said, well, did you get one? And I'm like, where the heck have you been? I almost got attacked by something. I don't know what it is. And he said, why you say you almost got attacked? I said, because I told him the story, and he laughed his butt off. He said, that was just a deer blowing at you. There was other deer in the field. And so that had to be my most memorable hunt. And from that day on, I've just been an outdoorsman. So whenever I get whenever I get the opportunity, I'm outdoors. I'm out in the woods, out on the lake, out on the river doing something.
Now, the number of hunters have been declining over the years. The fastest growing demographic as far as people buying hunting licenses
Yeah,
is women.
absolutely.
Fastest demographic. The slowest is both Hispanic and African American.
Hmm.
How would we entice more people of Hispanic and African American background to get out into the field?
Well, that's a hard one because I know with my friends, my African American friends, um, they all live. This isn't the city. They are suburbanites. Few live in the city, and I invite them out to go to my hunt lodge to hunt pheasant, duck. Oh man, I don't know if I want to go. I said, look, just come. We'll get you hunting. We'll get you a day license. We'll get you a 3-day license at the hunting lodge, or you can get your hunting license right there at the lodge. You can borrow one of my shotguns, and I'll show you how to shoot shotgun. And we go out and we pheasant hunt. Now, these aren't wild pheasants, but they had to be imported from Wisconsin or whatever. Sure. But the way we got it structured to set up, a pheasant's gonna continue to run from you. And our property at one of our lodges is surrounded by Girl Scout property, not right next door, but these pheasants are keep running. So we have little 2 feet fences at the end of the field. So we'll get 25, 30 yards from the edge of the field, and we know that there's some pheasant there. We'll send the dogs in and let them flush. And we have a day of hunting. And after that, my friends are like, hey, where can I go buy me a shotgun? It only takes one time. It only takes one time, and they're hunted, and they're hooked. And I try to do my part to educate people of color, people of my own race, and any race if they want to try it once. Because I know that if I hadn't have gotten interested, and if someone didn't teach me how to do it, I probably wouldn't be that person either. And now the thing about it is that they think, wow, I'm gonna go hunt. That's wild game and so forth and so on. And it probably tastes awful. Wild game is some of the it's probably the healthiest food that you can eat because number one, it's all natural.
It's very lean.
But it's all natural. And I've had my friends to come over and I cook pheasant, from everything from pheasant to wild boar to venison tenderloins, rabbit stew, you name it, pheasant pot pie. And they're like, man, where did you get this? I said, out of my freezer. Man, how did it get in your freezer? I put it there after I harvested it last winter. They said, this is wild game? Yes. They said, wow, I can't believe it. And it's just the fact that if you have friends that are willing to allow you to educate them on the art of harvesting wild animals, if you have the capacity to have the patience to teach those who have never experienced it, then God bless you. Because number one, I can eat wild game every day.
Yeah, me too.
I can eat wild game every day.
What's your favorite wild game recipe?
Oh, that depends on the season. During the winter, I like to make a rabbit stew with my signature buttermilk cornbread. But I could take all the rib meat and neck meat off of any deer and make stews with, make pot roasts, and so forth and so on. Grilling is very simple for me. It really doesn't matter. I like to take that pheasant and make pheasant with an orange sauce.
Ooh.
Make pheasant with orange sauce with some scalloped potatoes
So you're a
and some
gourmet as
vegetables.
well.
I love to cook.
Is there something you can't do?
I can't play basketball. That's an indoor sport. I'm not an indoor person. I've never had the interest in playing basketball. That's about it. That's about it. But as far as wild game, cooking, oh, in this little office here, last week I brought some of my bluefin tuna to the office, and just seared it on both sides, the way it's rare in the middle. Just slice it up, put it on a plate with some wasabi and some soy sauce, and just had bluefin tuna for lunch,
That's nice.
which is just outstanding. So so that's what I do. That's hey, that's me in a nutshell. Um, if I harvest it, because I don't like to use the word kill, if I harvest
Hmm.
what I hunt, I put it to good use. And if I don't have room in my freezer, like I don't right now, I always get it processed by a professional processor and give it to needy families, which actually makes me feel 10 times better
Yeah, and
than consuming that myself.
it's helping people.
It's helping people 100%.
So now you have Bo Jackson Signature Foods.
Bo Jackson Signature Foods are part of Jackson and Partners, which is just one of my many companies that I'm involved in, that I'm trying to help run to keep afloat. And the thing that I'm doing is is to make it simple. To make it simple, yes, I'm in the food business. Um, I'm not doing anything no different than anybody else, except trying to give the consumer a quality grade A product at a very at a very good cost. Period.
So it's mostly steaks and fish and that stuff.
Um, let's just say proteins, which could be all meats, from steaks to crab to shrimp to burgers, you name it. Um, 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 I'm just trying to make my footprint in the sand
Hmm.
of the food industry. Um, I have another company called Jackson Packaging, which is a corrugated box company that I'm doing some business with a lot of companies. So I keep myself busy. I've been on the national speaking tour for almost 30 years, and I stutter. And a guy that stutters is on the national speaking tour that loves to talk. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It's just a fact of, if you can overcome your fears, anything possible.
That's a fact.
Anything's possible.
Do you see yourself getting into wild game meats with your company?
Um, um, Probably not. Would love to, but with the FDA and everything,
Very expensive process.
very expensive process. Yes, yes. Plus, if you're gonna get into it, you gotta be able. The big thing that the big box stores look at, and the people in the food industry look at, say, the one thing that they look at: can you keep up with the supply and demand? And with wild game, you gotta have an absorbent amount of product
Hmm.
to keep up. Because if you got a good product, everybody's gonna want it.
Yeah.
And if you can't keep up with the supply and demand, you got one shot to succeed in this business. And if you don't, word gets around quick. Hey, he can't keep up with the supply and demand. Don't do business with him.
So, who taught you to cook?
I learned how to cook from watching my mother when I was from 5 to 6 years old. At 6 years, 5 or 6, first thing I ever cooked was that buttermilk cornbread that I brag about every chance I get. When I was young, in order for my mother to cook dinner for my other siblings, which at that time was my other 7 siblings. She had to keep an eye on me and cook at the same time. So she would make me sit in my little red rocking chair that I got for Christmas. She'd sit me in the middle of the kitchen, right by the kitchen table. And she said, don't you move. And I'd either have to sit there, because she would have her soap operas on TV in the kitchen also while she's cooking. And she'd tell me, don't you move, because she knew that if she couldn't hear me or see me, I was doing something to either going to burn down the house or electrocute myself. So don't move. And I sit there and I either watched her cook buttermilk cornbread every day in that cast iron skillet. Cast iron skillet weighed about 14 pounds. I either watch her cook in that cast iron skillet or watch General Hospital when Luke and Laura was in high school. So that's what I did. Watch her cook, or Luke and Laura with Dr. Hardy and Jesse. I still know all the characters.
I used to watch it.
So you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's what I did. Watch General Hospital, One Life to Live, all those people, and either watch soap operas, watch my mom cook. And I watch her cook buttermilk cornbread, watch her cook the fried chicken. She would make the cornbread in that cast iron skillet. Once she'd flip it out on a pan, use that same skillet, put some oil in it, fried chicken or fried pork chops.
So you literally went from the gridiron to the cast iron.
I actually, to be honest with you, I was more familiar with the cast iron before the gridiron. So I went from the cast iron to the gridiron. Now I'm back to the cast iron. So yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming.
Good luck this season and hunt safe.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. Thank you.